We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no keep, and some informer friend we lovely. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV, check it.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness made a promise to complete 5 key things in his first 100 days in office.
Within our first 100 days of government, we will start the legislative process to fix the date for general elections in Jamaica.
Promises on top of promises. Can you guess how many were kept? Well, that didn't go too well. Let's see what he's promised in the last 100 days.
October 4, 2023. In 2020, Andrew Holness had promised to build 100,000 houses by October 4, 2023. This promise was scaled down to 70,000 units, but up to the end of 2022, a total of only 15,477 housing units had been built under his administration since 2016.
On October 6, 2023, 365 NSHP houses were promised, but only 160 homes were completed. On October 18, 2023, Holness promised he would lower the inflation rate, which was at 5.1%. But by November 2023, it was 6.3%. which was not only higher than October, but outside the BOJ's target range of 4.0 to 6.0%. On October 29, 2023, he promised significant investments to facilitate the transformation of the JCF. To date, many rank-and-file police personnel still await overtime payments. On October 30, 2023, Holness advocated for peace in the Middle East and the protection of human rights for all. Yet, Jamaica missed the UN General Assembly vote on humanitarian truce in Gaza on October 27, 2023. On November 2, 2023, Holness promised to make sure that all Jamaicans have access to water, then committed 50,000 water tanks, but said only 3,000 would be distributed.
On November 8, 2023, Andrew Holness promised to respond to the Integrity Commission about his 2022 and 2023 statutory declarations not being certified. As of February 2024, he has not updated the country, nor have they been certified.
On November 19, 2023, Holness promised $330 million for a special housing-related response for home repair. The next day, on November 20, 2023, Holness also promised to commit to address the issues and offer support to the residents affected by flood rains. As of February 2024, many residents are still waiting on said funds. On November 22, 2023, Holness repeated a promise he made in 2021, which was to provide 12,000 titles. On November 24, 2023, Holness promised $1.4 billion to clean up Jamaica. On November 25, 2023, Holness said that the government has shown they can keep the dollar stable. When he took office, the dollar was 121.22 to 1, and today the dollar is 156.80 to 1. On November 26, 2023, Holness promised to end energy poverty, lower light bills, and reliance on makeshift lighting solutions. On November 28, 2023, Holness repeated his promise to shift 50% of Jamaica's electricity to renewable energy, knowing that as he made the promise, the government had not sent off even one request for proposal in regards to this under the 8 years of his leadership. On January 8, 2024, Holness promised at minimum 500 new houses under the NSHP. On January 10, 2024, Holness promised to reimagine and reshape the way we utilize our markets island-wide. On January 17, 2024, Holness promised a Type 5 health center for Portmore, which is currently without a hospital. On January 24, 2024, Holness promised the 40 billion Spark program, which is supposed to revitalize secondary, parochial, and community roads across the island. On February 11, 2024, Holness promised to turn Clarkstown in Trelawney into a city. On February 12, 2024, Holness promised 1.52.0, indicating that he will increase the tax threshold. From 2016 until now, one thing remains constant: empty promises.
Let's hear from Holness himself as to why he made these promises.
So no government will be able to come and make false promises and hide the truth and tell you half-truths and trick you into voting for them, and then when them win, them throw on poison for you.
Time come for a change.
This is Global TV election campaign coverage. This is Global TV election campaign coverage. This is Global TV election campaign coverage.
It is the 25th of February, hours before the polls are open, and a government in sitting for 8 years still yet has not published a local government manifesto. Good evening and welcome to Dip on Pay, Rolling Calf Politics, Manifesto Politics. Good evening and welcome to Global Television. It is the eve, it is the wake. It is the wake for whoever will be slaughtered at the polls tomorrow, who will be stealing the election or who the election will be stolen from tomorrow. Welcome, welcome to Ready Money Politics. You just couldn't make it up. This government, yet this government has done it again. Another new in the bag from this government. The election without a manifesto. Good evening to those on the X, those on Twitch, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Good evening and welcome to Global Television, this or Election Eve broadcast. Good evening to everyone on the live. Good evening to everyone in the chat. Boy, I'm tired and feel sleepy and me almost never better come out here tonight because me sit down from our evening. I wait for when Esther Morgan say, even though me never plan to read the dopey politics, me did still a think say them are gonna come with something. But if any of you see anything from the Prime Minister and the Jamaica Labour Party of a manifesto, please advise me, because I'm yet to see it. Like it was easy to find the Golden and the People's National Party local government manifesto. I cannot find anything from the Prime Minister. I don't know if it's word of mouth manifesto or promise as we go along. Just make it up wherever we see them and think we can fool them. Manifesto. But this is startling. This is startling, and it must be said, this is historic. But this election, the life of the nation, is hanging the balance this evening. Good evening to Amazing Grace. Good evening to Natalia Freeman. May I fit draw back for say good. Good evening to Natalia Freeman. Anthony R. Good evening and welcome. Good evening to Samora Tyrell. Good evening and welcome. Debbie Jervis, my North American correspondent. Good evening and welcome. How are you? Good evening to Arlene Forrest. Good evening and welcome. Good evening. Who else is here? Amazing Grace. Good evening and welcome. Good evening. Michelle Lewis, Wilson Scott Gifts. Good evening and welcome. Good evening to Prof. Gorgeous Lady. Good evening and welcome. Good evening. Sunshine, how are you? Good evening and welcome. Cousin Jamie, good evening, how are you? Sim, good evening, how are you? Beat and Teach, good evening, how are you? Cousin Myrna, good evening, how are you? Tell the whole of Parottee tonight is Parottee Politics. Good evening and welcome to the people of Parottee. Good evening and welcome to the people of the Mountainside Division. Good evening and welcome to the people of the Southwest St. Elizabeth constituency. Good evening and welcome. Good evening to Elijah B. Good evening and welcome. Janet Bailey. Good evening and welcome. Jamaica Foodie. Good evening and welcome. Arlene Foster. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Sharon Powell. Good evening and welcome. Audrey Robinson. Good evening and welcome. Angela 48349. Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Mary Messenger TV. Good evening and welcome. Paula Shelley. Good evening and welcome. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Linville Graham, good evening and welcome. Raymond, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Lilith Foster, good evening and welcome. Millicent Jones, good evening all and welcome to Global Television. It is our election eve broadcast and we are on air, but we are still awaiting the Prime Minister and the Labour Party local government manifesto. Good evening Paula Shelley, good evening. Lilith Foster, good evening, good evening. Good evening. Who else is here? Carl Sexy Sade, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining. Divine Roots of God Yashewa, good evening and welcome. Good evening, Beta and T2 Agwan. Thank you all for joining us. Have your finger been inked? Have you dipped and inked this evening? Have you been dipped and inked by Darrell Vaz? Have you collected Floyd Green $10,000? Have you been dipped and inked this evening? Or are you? Good evening, Natalia Freeman. How are you? Are you going to dip your children's future away? Or will you stand in the line tomorrow to preserve democracy? But I'm confused as to where to start tonight. Where on earth do I start? Aren't you all confused? Because I'm sure, like me, a lot of you have been waiting to see or hear something from the Prime Minister as to the social contract he wants us to get into the Jamaica Labour Party with, where we should give him our vote under pretense, but there is no bargaining, no deal, nothing offered to us in return for our vote. Isn't it rather sad that a government who have been in power for 8 years, me start sweat already, so I have to go take off this. Veteran, where you there? Are you fast asleep? Me not say veteran, me not say agency driver 5. Who else me not say? I don't say a whole of people. Where is Carlos? Is Carlos live or not? But Overcomer, you're always on Facebook. Good evening and welcome. Good evening to anyone who is on Facebook and is not in the chat. Rosalie Ricketts, good evening and welcome. But I'm going to look at the Prime Minister because we must understand the fully loaded speech the Prime Minister made in St. Thomas. I'm going to play other snippets of lives from the Prime Minister. But let's listen back the Prime Minister in St. Thomas, and then let's assess it from the local government angle, not from central government, but from local government angle.
You hear my voice on? It's on raspy. This voice is for the ladies.
Straight. Hey, my Prime Minister, straight.
So all the man them just listen. But my voice is this way because I have been through the nooks and crannies of Jamaica, reasoning with the people. And there's a lot of talking because there are a lot of issues facing Jamaicans in their community. This election is a local government election. It is not an election to determine who is the Prime Minister and your member of Parliament. It is an election to determine the representatives who have responsibilities for local, municipal, and infrastructure issues. So municipal issues like the garbage collection and infrastructure issues like your local roads, your parish council roads, and your local water supply. That is what this election is about. Because of political desperation and opportunism, such man has tried to turn this into a national election. I don't know the wisdom in that political calculus, because what it has done is to go and stir up Labour Party answer. Because people realize that they have to come out and support their government. Their government is doing well, they understand that. At the national level, they see the change that has happened, the transformation that has happened. The frustration is not at the national level. The frustration, the pain point, is at the local level. The road, the water, the garbage collection, your interaction and interface with the transport system, and your interaction and interface with other public services. That is where the frustration is. So I've spent the last 8 years with the team making sure that we have a strong economy. Now, we're going to make sure that the economy is a caring economy. An economy that deals with the issues that affect you.
Okay. We're going to look at the things that he did not get the chance to do, or did his government, Simone Beckford, good evening and welcome. The things that his government did not get the chance to do for the last 8 years because they were so busy looking after the economy up there. Okay. Local government have a ministry. Junior McPherson, good evening and welcome. Local government has a ministry. Thank you very much, Junior. Welcome. It's always good to have new faces on the platform. Make sure you subscribe. And this evening, I'm going to argue with everybody. I'm going to be brutal this evening. There is a jerk on the world, me not see what maybe you're a watch, but your finger busy. I'm going to be brutal and miserable this evening about the likes and share. Because me na beg out a cap, beg out a cup, or beg out a hat. All I'm begging is for you to like and share the live. This evening we have quite a bit to get through. This evening we're sitting in a historical place this evening where the life of our nation hangs in the balance. And the sitting government for 8 years have not had successes that they can use to bolster their election, their re-election pledge, and by extension, cannot present the country with a manifesto. So I'm going to be very brutal about the likes and shares this evening. I'm going to quarrel. I'm going to quarrel over it. Like what I see some people quarrel over them super chat and them other funds. I'm going to quarrel. Because it's it. Because look how much people like the live. I'm going to quarrel this evening. No man, I know do better with a finger. Do better with a finger. I'm sure it's not glue off your phone. It must can touch your phone. Let me remind you if you don't know how to do the like and share malarkey. Let me remind you if you don't know how to do the like and share. Can we go rub Floyd Green this evening, call him Philly? We have some questions to ask Mr. Green. Yeah, me go quarrel over me galangin tonight. Me go quarrel tonight over the like and shares. Make whole heap of nice tonight over the like and shares. So this graphics on the screen. The graphic on the right with the yellow circle, if you hit that X, it will take you to the screen that looks like the one on the left here. In the circle, if you hit that thumbs up, it registers your like. Then you just hit the link below where it says chat publicly. Patricia Matthews, good evening. How are you? I'm going to quarrel tonight and be miserable about the like and shares. But the Prime Minister is yet to furnish us with a manifesto. But let's look at what the Prime Minister says. The Prime Minister says because they were so busy focusing on the economy, getting it right at the top, they have ignored local government all these years because he knows that the frustration, the grunt and bear it's at the local level. It's not at the national level. It's at the local level because we were so busy fixing your economy. And then while our economy has become so well, because the whole of them foreign paper, I give it good economic ratings. Vernon Adams, good evening and welcome. The whole of them, I get foreign ratings, how well they're doing on the economy. But local government has its own ministry. Local government has its portfolio. Local government has a set of technocrats and bureaucrats, as well as local government have a fleet of mayors and councillors under their portfolio. So answer this question, Prime Minister. Brittany Lyon, good evening and welcome. What was the issue why local government was ignored? Is it that there was no money to supply local government? Or is it Joan Brown, good evening and welcome. Or were there no one and no time to look after the issues of local government? Right. Let's deal with it's a possibility that the Prime Minister couldn't budget local government properly. They got some budget because we know from Pamela Monroe Ellis just last week, that over 100 million is unaccountable for in local government. So we knew they got budget. We don't know how much they got, but we know how much is highly likely that it's quite likely stolen from local government budget. There is a 1.7 trillion from the public budget in 3 departments: the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Health. From 2019 to 2021, 650 million of National Housing Trust money, state money, was plunged into a private developer who earned wealth and profit out of it. Jamaica got nothing. The illicit six that cannot account for their wealth, some of our budget would have gone into because they have access to the public funds. Nigel Clark told us he's going to use 14 million per month of our money to pay off for a fraudulent financial institution. So if it's money, Prime Minister Holness, that was the problem. Why the issues of local government, the infrastructure issues? What my cousin Jamie, how you do? Maybe I call you out earlier, but I know sometimes your hand busy. If it is that the issue was budgeting, if so much money was going loose all over the place, local and central government, then it would be hard for the Prime Minister to come and tell us it's because I was bringing down the debt, I was fixing the economy. Pamela McNeil, good evening and welcome. That's why the issues of local government couldn't be focused on. So that argument wouldn't wash Prime Minister to say we didn't have the funds. Oh, you're going down for vote, cousin? If the Prime Minister is going to say, me and my entire team of cabinet, which includes Delroy Henry, good evening and welcome, which includes Desmond McKenzie, the Minister of Local Government. Because do the right thing, do the right thing. We know you're a songster supporter, but do the right thing. We need fresh idea. Remember our family, oh. If it is that my entire cabinet was assisting me in getting it right up here, what was Desmond's portfolio? What was Desmond's portfolio in assisting the Prime Minister to get it right at the top? What was Desmond and his bureaucrats' portfolio assisting the Prime Minister in getting it right at the top? What was the role of the mayors and councillors and their operational and administrative team over the last 8 years with the budget that was given to them? Why was there no performance from those people? What assistance were they given those sets of people that control the whole local government apparatus? Those people who control the local government apparatus, what portfolio in central government prevented them from doing what's needed to be done at the local level? But I'm going to play some more of the Prime Minister don't know which side of his mouth he's talking out of, and see if you're making any sense of the Prime Minister, or does the people around the Prime Minister look as if they believe in him or is enthusiastic about what the Prime Minister is speaking about.
Some people that as they become desperate, they start to use all kinds of evil ways to get power. You know what I'm talking about. There are some people who have an entitlement attitude. They believe that Jamaica was willed to them. They behave as if they have the title for Jamaica in their safe. They believe that they are some form of divine authority, and they look upon others in authority with disrespect and disdain because we are not their equals. That's how they look on us. They feel they are the Tapanaris, and by virtue of that entitlement, they must have power given to them. Their power should never be contested, because as far as they are concerned, they are divine rulers. And they must have the area. They must have this division, and they will do anything and anything to them. I am not here making up stories. We have our lady here can attest to what I am saying. She has been there and she has said what I have said in different words. But you know what I am saying, and Venetia know exactly what I'm saying.
The truth is, both Prime Minister and Venetia, we don't know what I say, and it would be useful when you come into the country to explain to us what I mean and what I say, because we don't in our mind, and we don't in our vicinity, and not all of we know what I want. You and Venetia, and some people around might be going on, but Prime Minister, from your call the election, there's a level of violence and intimidation, gun pointing, telling people so they make the wrong talk, and everything going around. The issue is, though, has the Prime Minister really delivered on his promises? And if the Prime Minister has delivered on his promises, why can the Prime Minister not present a manifesto? Lilith Lockerbie, good evening, and welcome. Lassam Riley, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining. Shauna Smith, good evening and welcome. Varan Dennis, good evening and welcome. Good evening, thank you for joining. Winston Darkins, good evening and welcome. Amai Vassal, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, thank you. While I've been all over the weekend, sitting over the Prime Minister's page, hoping there would be something of the sort of a manifesto that will come. Remember, I went through these fire brigade malarkeys with you, where he was going around the country, reopening already refurbished and opened fire station, things that's been done years ago. However, in the Black River, in the St. Elizabeth, the Black River Fire Station, there is a $10 million shortfall, because in the Prime Minister's argument, real good evening and welcome, thank you for joining. in the Prime Minister's argument, one pamphlet says 70 million. In the Gleaner, it says 60 million. So there's a $10 million shortfall in what the Prime Minister is telling us. But then again, Mr. Prime Minister jump up. I think these are the Prime Minister manifesto, you know. I'm just thinking so. Just help him make it up as him go along. Rolling calf politics. Can you believe the Prime Minister is going around the country at late night, walking around ringing bell? So he's telling us here about, let me pull it up from my iPad, can I never ever read it, you know, can I just copy it for sure, you know, because it don't make no sense you keep follow this guy anymore, because let me ask Morgan this. Wasn't this a blatant lie, Mr. Morgan? Wasn't this a blatant lie?
Robert Morgan says his party's manifesto will be made available to the public on Saturday, 2 days before the local government election.
The manifesto will be published on Saturday morning online. One of the most important aspects of the manifesto is the whole issue of public local government reform. There's been a lot of conversations in the debates about local government reform. Our government has sat down and they have made some decisions about not just the regulatory aspect of local government reform, but also looking at building approval, the transparency associated with building approval, and also the impact that building approval and development has on communities, and take into consideration concerns by numerous civil society groups about how the development of our towns and cities is taking place, but also looking at massive investment into rural water supply. We have the road investment with the Spark program, but in the manifesto you're going to have an outlay of a significant investment in rural water supply.
Mr. Morgan says the manifesto is not the only document highlighting the JLP's achievements and plans for Jamaica's future.
Throughout this campaign, there has been numerous documents, advertisements, statements by ministers and the Prime Minister about the plans, programs, and policies that we're going to be pushing forward. So another document called our achievement document, which we had out there last week. The manifesto is not the be-all and end-all of our campaign. We have a campaign strategy. We have a plan as to how we manage our campaign, and that is what we're executing.
Robert Morgan, chairman of the JLP's Public Relations Committee.
The manifesto is not the be all and end all of our campaign. Was that the warning to say there was never going to be one coming? Our manifesto is a part of all these little different snippets of pamphlet the Prime Minister and others been putting out there for the last so and so. So why the Prime Minister couldn't just tell us then that these ever so often pamphlets that is posted on his page under whether it be water headline or it be building your market headline, it be building your water system headline, it be building your fire station headline. Are those your manifesto, Prime Minister? Let it be clear to us. But how would it be your manifesto? You're explaining here. What you're explaining here, Prime Minister, would have been your successes over the past 8 years. This wouldn't be tantamount, Prime Minister, to a manifesto. It doesn't have any policy that you're asking us to re-elect you on. It is rather surprising, though, Prime Minister, that a part of this local government campaign, I don't see you have posted any. It could pass me, to say how you are building our local roads, not our roads, or local roads. Richard Heights, good evening and welcome. Or local roads. So if you're passing by the Prime Minister's page and you happens to be looking for a manifesto, look no further than all these pamphlets that the Prime Minister is putting out. At least when Mark Golding and the People's National Party was putting out their manifesto, it was one hinge of documents stringed together. But today you get something where Andrew member saying, then tomorrow again in St. Catherine. Building your water systems. More than 7,000 residents in Watermont, Watermont, St. Catherine, now have access to portable water following the commissioning of 220 million upgrade system. An underground water recharging station was renovated at the cost of $325 million and to provide water to rural communities, and 110 million was allocated to construct new water shops, whatever those water shops mean. Before I continue on this, there is something that someone brought to my attention the other day, but I myself now have the experience. If someone calls you direct from Jamaica, their Jamaican number used to come up direct on your phone. Of recent, if you get a call from Jamaica and the person happens to call you direct, if they call you 3 times, Cynthia B., good evening and welcome. If they call you 3 times, the number is coming up as 3 different numbers. And it tends to give you different areas in Europe. Someone happens to call me this evening direct from Jamaica, and I've had the experience. One of the location it gave when the call came in was Budapest. The other was Hungary. And somebody else had that same experience. I don't know what is going on with telecommunications in Jamaica, but if you happens to call us abroad, call us direct, and think that your Jamaican number is going to pop up on our phone. It will not happen. It will be. But Patricia, it's one of my globalists who called me directly from Jamaica. It's one of my globalists who called me directly. But of recent, the numbers from Jamaica, whenever they call you, if they call you direct, then that is what happened. You get some strange number somewhere across Europe or West Asia. I don't know what is happening. Okay, let's get back to the Prime Minister pamphlet. St. James. Several 1,000-gallon tanks were installed in 6 communities in St. James through a partnership with Rural Water Supply Limited. St. James people would know what that means. Portland people, answer this. Hello, Portland. Good night. Anyone from Portland here? Water shops were commissioned at Portland at a cost of $13.5 million. What does these water shop? Anyone from Portland is here. What does these water shop mean? Water shop were commissioned at a cost of $13.5 million. What does that mean, Portland people? Clarendon. The community of Pentons, or whatever it's called in Clarendon, received its first water shop, which was built at a cost of $8 million. TheAmericanTV.com, good evening. Can somebody educate me on what water shop is? Somebody educate me on what water shop is, please. The community, hold on, no, Westmoreland, no. A 50 mil, hold on, I can't call number, you know. Oh, Westmoreland there. Come on to see the number. Oh, no, remember me dance. Now we're looking at water. Water. Right, so we're at Westmoreland. A 50,000-gallon community catchment tank was restored at the cost of $10 million. Nobody from Portland not there? Water shop or several 1,000 black tank at one location where people go with their caca penny royal. No, sir. Water shop. Them yeah. Water shop are several. No, sir. Murder several 1,000 black tank at one location where everybody were. So, Holness, why you never call it modern day standpipe? No, no, sir. No, talk truth. Why the Prime Minister didn't call it modern day standpipe? Because this is what modern day 1,000 gallon plastic standpipe. Plastic standpipe. You couldn't water shop. No, you've got to call it the way the Prime Minister called it. You've got to call it the way the Prime Minister calls it. And the way the Prime Minister called it. The way the Prime Minister called it sound foreign. It sounds foreign. The way how the Prime Minister called it. Hold on there. I'm just screenshotting something. The way how the Prime Minister called it, it really sounds foreign. Without someone here to explain it to me. That it's just simple. The Prime Minister. It's just simple modern day standpipe. Plastic standpipe. School tank for when water gone. That's what the Prime Minister is going around calling water shop. Well, make we look when say St. Elizabeth, because Holy go on a St. Elizabeth because we always in a water dire straight. Oh, water shop that St. Elizabeth. Which part of St. Elizabeth water shop them there? Water shop were commissioned at St. Elizabeth at a cost of 12 million. A new water supply system was commissioned to benefit over 1,600 residents, and a rainwater harvesting system were constructed at Springfield Primary and Infant School. A sum of 11 million was spent to construct a water shop for the community. That would be what, Springfield community? Oh God. 2 water shops were open to serve 4,500 residents in the Top Hill and Retirement District at the cost of 18.6 million. Manchester. A water shop with a 16,000 gallon storage capacity was established at a cost of 14 million. A 21 million, 40,000 gallon water shop was commissioned. Citizens of Belfield, Banana Ground, Blue Mountain, Bamboo Bay, Virginia City, Virginia Top, Belfield, Drayton, and Coffee Grove. A water shop was opened in Marley Hill, Manchester, to alleviate chronic shortage of the amenities in the community. A 50,000 gallon community attachment tank were restored at the cost of 10 million. There are 2 monies? Oh no, me a double read. Never mind the gallon. I could see when it's on market. Market Prime Minister. Market to... Well, where do you know? Where do you market? Make we do your market. We do your market. Make we do your market. Okay, make we do your market. Westmoreland. 17 million was spent for the rehabilitation of the Savalanamar market in Westmoreland, St. James. The 100 million multi-purpose renovation of the Charles Garden market in St. James is underway. 100 million. 90% completion of works for the renovation of Jubilee Market in downtown Kingston which was gutted by the fire several years ago. Crop Circle Outdoor Eatery and Heroes Circle Kingston was renovated. Stony Hill Market was renovated. Papine Market was renovated. Red Rose Fish Market in downtown Kingston was officially reopened in 2022 after extensive renovation work. St. Catherine, the 15 million Aki Village Vending Park, located along the Dyke Road in Portmore, if I say it, named St. Catherine, was officially reopened. Portmore, 10 million allocation given to clean up activities at the Musgrave Market, which Portland rather. Portland. Which part? Desmond Mackenzie. Cynthia B support Stony Hill Market is without electricity. I wonder what some of them millionaires go. Let me see. No, sir. Prime Minister. So I'm going part fix it, but then when I fix half a road, so about when I fix half a market. It's a regular thing. Portland. 10 million allocation given to clean up activity at the Musgrave Market, which was destroyed by fire. Buff Bay Market was renovated. Surprisingly, you know talk how much spent on Buff Bay Market. St. Anne's, 21 million spent on the renovation of the Brownstone Market in St. Anne's. Ocherius Market was renovated. St. Elizabeth, repair of 8.5 million to the Black River Market were completed at Black River Market, St. Elizabeth. Santa Cruz Market was renovated. Anybody know anything if it goes off it true? Improvements were made to the Melrose Yam Park in Manchester. Isn't the economy of Melrose really shattered by these new highways? Like Buff Bay Market roof come off only last week backside. Can't bother with you. About time Musgrave Market got upgraded. The Clarkstown Market shop is in Chilani were open. Sunset. Oh boy. The new Hopewell Market in Hanover was built at a cost of 23 million to accommodate 24 vendors. So, there you have it. There you have it. Nothing. Literally nothing. Good night, Mr. Green. How are you? I am aware, Floyd Green, that you're going around issuing $10,000. I'm aware, Mr. Green. Me know people will already get $10,000, Mr. Green. The truth, though, me can't blame you because it's what Uno do. But what I would want to talk to tonight, Mr. Green, is the people of the Mountainside Division and the people of Parottee, St. Elizabeth, the people of Southwest St. Elizabeth constituency. The truth is, we have what I describe as an old dinosaur at local government in the Mountainside Division. He has been there for years, long time. In 1980, he came to central government. He came to central government in 1980, and he did 2 terms. In his 2 terms, one cannot look at our community and says Derek Sangster has done this. Derek Sangster has done well here. Derek Sangster has done this, or Derek Sangster has done well here. After being unseated by Donald Buchanan in 1989, I'm not aware much of his track record in politics from 89 to 2007 when he rejoined at local government. Mr. Sangster has been at local government from 2007 until present. He's the mayor of Black River and the council for the Mountainside Division. Our community have a road issue. There's mall and sand that is dragged through our community regular. So we get a lot of rain. And you know how it go when them big vehicle there come through your community regular. On Philly type of Jamaica road there. You know, the craters and the puddles and the dust and all that inner jolt and the mall road. If you got a lot of we know this. If you're going to Black River or wherever, you're likely going to have to wear one slippers or something till you reach where the dust now go dirty up all of you. You change shoes or something, but it is with reality. So we don't have service in that area of good infrastructure for a road them. Those of us who grew up in our community of Parottee know that we have a river we call Cassie River. And one spring, there at a particular spot of it, what we call down a spring head. And there used to be a pump there that pumps water right through the entire community and beyond. We never have the water problem we're having now in our community. We never used to have it. And that pump was removed from our community. That pump house was closed down, which was serving the community so well with water under the Dr. Christopher Tufton tenure when he was at Southwest St. Elizabeth. And ever since that, our community has been in a water dilemma. Look across our community and count how many street lightings in our community and how far they are away from each other. I would like my community tonight to examine their conscience and say, this man has been in our politics in Southwest St. Elizabeth. Good. Give me your opinion when we're done. This man has been in our politics for the better part of 50 years. What has been the improvement in the Mountainside Division? What has been the improvement in the community of Parottee under Derek Sangster, mayoralty and council? What has been the improvement of our Black River Township? They're more removing the capital status of our Black River Township to Junction rather than developing the capital for St. Elizabeth. I'm told there is only one bank left in Black River. I'm told the only thing they're left to remove out of Black River. It's the hospital. What has Derek Sangster done for the community? I will tell you. A piece of one of the village in the Parottee district is called down a seaside or down a lower than Windal. Especially those who live down a lower. We live in the strip of 2 bed of waters. We live in the strip of 2 bed of waters, the sea on one side and the lake on the other side. I would call it over Salpan or over Sumana. Some of you in English would call it Savannah. Down the road, there's a drainage and a culvert or culvert, what we call down a salpan. Down a salpan, when rain fall heavily, we have to go down a salpan, go open the arm. We would have to go open the creek or go open the gutter. And that would help the water to rush to the sea faster, where it would drain the water so we can get road for walk on, because when rain falls, it falls very heavy. Then a vast part of our road can get taken up by water. What this Mr. Sangster did, that parish council land was sold to developers. And from that era was sold, that drainage has been blocked. And what that has done, it has posed a constant and dire risk to the community. Take, for example, the northwest wind. You see that was battering the northern and western coast of Jamaica. Even St. Elizabeth was affected by it. That battered the coast, the north and western coast of Jamaica. High tide and heavy rainfall is very dangerous for our community. But this man, Derek Sangster, has put the community more at risk by, rather than protecting the community, acting in his portfolio as he should, drainage and gullies. Drainage and gullies are under the portfolio of councils and mayors. And that drain has been blocked and put the community at risk. Those of us who live in the community remember 1986 June flood. 1986 June flood. If 1986 June flood happened, this time it will be tenfold, because the water has nowhere to go. If you, the people of Parottee and Mountainside Division, is going to choose Derek Sangster after 50 years, who has done nothing, after 50 years, that will not bring new ideas, that will not possibly come up with new ideas that he has not come up with in 50 years. How is that risk in the next 4 years? If you give Derek Sangster the next 4 years, how is that risk going to be lifted from your community? Or are you giving Derek Sangster a mandate that this is a danger to our community? This must be lifted, this debt trap. And we must take this serious, people of Parottee. Especially if you remember the 1986 June flood. You must take down a salpan. You must take down a salpan seriously It's a death trap over the community. And this was done under Derek Sangster, mayoralty, and councillorship. If you're giving Derek Sangster a mandate to go back to local government, then you must also give Derek Sangster the mandate to lift the debt trap from over the community. It is that you don't care about yourself or your life or the life of your children and generations. The longer we take, and a lot of my family knew, I've been going on about this thing madly from 2018. This is not because of the election issue. I've been going on crazy about this from 2018. And if you're giving Derek Sangster a mandate to go back to local government, because me know that, but me I try to persuade you, so me not telling you to vote for PMP, you know. Me just I say don't vote against a family and a community person. Me not telling you to don't vote for PMP. Me know that not going to happen. But what my advice is to stand down and say, all right, me not going to vote against my community or vote against my family. At the end of the day, we can put pressure upon Kevar if him win the seat, if he do the job. We can never find Derek Sangster at any point, or when Derek Sangster just exit with community and move on. That's the truth, really. Because to the truth, he has been there for a long time and there is no improvement. But I want to touch on another piece of politics that Derek Sangster is playing. Now, this young man on the screen, Kevar Bennett, is our family member, both cousin Jamie, cousin Myrna, and all of us. He's our family member. But as I explained to you, our family is split into two. A lot of us are Jamaica Labour Party supporters. A lot of us are People's National Party supporters. I myself once was a Jamaica Labour Party supporter. For those of us who knew me, knew I jumped off the Jamaica Labour Party train in the whole green bond scenario. That was when I departed with the Jamaica Labour Party and said, I cannot support this anymore, because to see the state is using state money to print green bond to give out to Jamaicans in order to garner vote, I just couldn't stay on board with that. And that was where I jumped off board with the Jamaica Labour Party. I'm not on board with the People's National Party. Let me make it categorically clear. I am not on board for the People's National Party. What I'm on board for, I'm on board for Jamaica. But politics starts two places. And if you cannot get it right in those two places, you will never get it right at the national level. There's two levels of politics. Politics starts within the family and then within the community. If you cannot organize politics within the family, and if you cannot get politics right within the community, because for a community to develop, it must be done on political consensus. Means if it's the Jamaica Labour Party that is in power, both Jamaica Labour Party supporters and People's National Party supporters are going to come together and to say, these are the priorities that's needed in the community, and us as a community is going to lobby our councillor, not us as Jamaica Labour Party or us as People's National Party, us as the community from whichever side of the block is going to lobby so that we can have our water. We're going to lobby so that we can have our roads. We're going to lobby that we can have our street lightings and all the things that needed to improve and develop our community. But rather than telling us what he has done at local government since 2007 until now, what Derek Sangster is doing is playing low-life politics, just like the rest of the JLP is going around the country doing. This young man on the screen, Kevar Bennett, and this young lady next to Derek Samsa, she's about 14, 15-year-old. She's one of my cousins as well. They're brothers and sisters paternally. And what Derek Samsa, the campaign that Derek Samsa can go through our community with, is to take up his underage sister who doesn't have a vote, all because she have a different, her mother have a different political allegiance. Derek Samsa think that this was his best campaign strategy to front page his underage sister. Use his underage sister to front his campaign. This is the type of nasty politics that the Jamaica Labour Party continues to enforce upon us. But to my community tonight, if you vote for Derek Samsa, you're not voting for future for your community. We literally haven't seen it. He has been at the helm of government for the better part of 50 years, 8 years at central government. He has been at local government from 2007. Can you, with your conscience, say, this he has done to improve my community? He has done this, and because he has done so, my community is better off. My community benefits. The people of my community benefits. I'm sure if Kevar gets this seat, all of us in the community know where to go and find him. All of us can find him when we want, and all of us can pressure him to do the job within the division. Are you tonight, the $10,000 that Mr. Green is going around the constituency using to buy your vote? Are you going to sell your vote? Are you going to sell your vote for $10,000? Are you going to sell your vote for what is not enough to buy a night dinner for a family of 5? Are you going to sell your generational future? Are you going to sell your children's future? When the next generation look back at this historic election, because the life of the nation hangs in the balance of this election. The life of the nation hangs in the balance of this election. And I'm going to give you your advice shortly, Mr. Golden. No, man, I've had evidence of people who fly green paid $10,000 to cousin. But there's another scandal that came across my desk, Mr. Green, and I'm not in any case here making a statement. I'm just asking a few questions. There is a laptop for sex scandal that is going around the place. It is alleged that certain young ladies are saying Mr. Green is soliciting sex from them for laptop. It is alleged. Is there any truth to those arguments? And if there is any truth to those arguments, does any of these laptops have to do with the laptops that would have been or should have been issued in the COVID time? Is there any truth to such allegation? But Mr. Green, in the constituency of Southwest St. Elizabeth, in the Mountainside Division, has already started his $10,000 campaign has already started his $10,000 campaign. I'm saying to the people, how far can $10,000 get you in the supermarket? Because I'm sure you're not going to see them after Wednesday. I'm sure you're not going to see them after Wednesday. How far does this 10,000 will take you? Or have your finger tonight across the country been ink and dipped? Have you dipped and paid? Have you received your payment and dipped? Is your finger already tainted? Is your name on the voters list, but you will not be able to vote? Because you have sold democracy. You have sold your participation. You have sold the future of your children and grandchildren. You have sold the balance of power in democracy. Target my family. You think Floyd Green them a fool? Floyd Green them know so me have protection of foreign, so my family them have protection of yard too. Floyd Green a fool. And none of them no fool. Them know Parottee. Don't think they don't. The problem is we cannot expect positive result if we have been doing this very thing in respect to Derek Sangster. We cannot expect positive results when we have been doing the same thing for better part of 50 years. And particularly from Derek Sangster, we have not had any result. We cannot show any result under Derek Sangster mayoralty, councillorship, or when he was at central government. Is it so terrible? Is it so terrible that Floyd Green and the Jamaica Labour Party couldn't find a young voice across the division, across the mountainside division? Or they saying they couldn't find a strong voice, a young voice, a visionary, someone to come in with new ideas? Rather, all that Floyd Green could come up with is the same of nothing. That alone is not fair on the people. The truth be told, the people are to be given chances of new ideas. And what the Jamaica Labour Party and Floyd Green has done is deprive you of new ideas. Derek Sangster will not bring any new ideas. He has not done so for the past 50 years. We cannot point to one thing in our community that he has done to develop or enhance our community. Not one. So to choose him again is telling ourselves that if there's going to be progress for our community, I will wait until Sangster is gone. If there's going to be progress for our community on the local government, I am going to have to wait until Derek Sangster is gone. Because while Derek Sangster is here, Derek Sangster doesn't have a vision. Derek Sangster doesn't have a vision. He doesn't have a plan for your community. The truth is, he has never brought anything to the table of his better part of the 50 years of being in government. It is really time for a change, people. It is really time for a change. Now, of course, me a campaign for Kevar cause. Oh God, me couldn't go to a bright young family for Derek Sangster, which has not for 50 years done anything in our family. Hell or high water, cousin. I would have to join the Kevar campaign because even though I was affiliated to the Jamaica Labour Party, if I was still living in Jamaica, cousin, and is still affiliated to the Jamaica Labour Party, there's no way Sangster could have my vote this time. With me understanding family and community politics now, I would have to behave just like Holness' father did. Holness' father was a socialist. But when his son was going forward, he switched over to the Jamaica Labour Party because he had to support his son. So if I was in Jamaica, under no circumstances, no matter how aligned I am to the Jamaica Labour Party, on this occasion, in my community, I couldn't vote for them. Yeah, but why they never put Teddy up for this? Why they never put Teddy up for this election? Cause the risk one I got take of losing this seat, cause is because the people, even a lot of ardent supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party in the Mountainside Division are not happy with Derek Sangster. Most of you who go to the poll in the Mountainside Division tomorrow and will be voting for the Jamaica Labour Party is voting based on tribal line. It's not voting because Derek Sangster. Because you may be surprised, you know. You may be surprised. Voting for Derek Sangster tomorrow will be voting on tribal line. It's not voting on successes and it's not voting on improvement. It's purely on tribal line. And voting on tribal line is never going to develop or move our politics forward. But before we end tonight, we will be giving Mark Golden his advice. Because we don't have friends over here with politicians, so we are going to give them public advice. Mr. Golden, you are charged with bringing home the local government election victory. Should you not done so, Mr. Golden, you must tender your resignation within 72 hours of the result. If you're not successful, Mr. Golden, in taking home the local election, you must tender your resignation in 72 hours. The next line of advice, Mr. Golden, is not to just tender your resignation as president of the People's National Party, but also to tender your resignation from the constituency. Force an emergency by-election. Have Damian Crawford contest the seat. Have Damian Crawford contest the seat. It's a guarantee that Damian Crawford will win your seat. Damian Crawford become president of the People's National Party by consensus. If it's not by consensus, then we can all buy our suit because it will be a bloodbath in the People's National Party all the way to the downward spiral of the pit that they may never return out of. This tonight, you like that bit, cause this tonight was your rolling cough politics. You are going to the poll tomorrow. And remember, Kenya Lee Linda, good evening. Remember, you're going to the polls tomorrow. And under this social contract, the government is meant to come to you, or both political party is meant to come to you and say, these are the things that I'm offering you to do for you in return for your vote. The People's National Party have done so. We are yet to have that from the Jamaica Labour Party. Are you getting into a social contract without an offer from the other side? This is where Global TV ends it tonight. Join us back tomorrow when we will be here for Global TV Election Day. Cousin Jamie, you are in Jamaica. And if you want to be our reporter on the ground tomorrow, cuz just let me know and I can create a link, and wherever wherever the bangarang is popping off, because I know you will be in the euphoria tomorrow, and I know you will be at the returning office or somewhere in the capital tomorrow. So all of you on the ground tomorrow are my journalists. We will run an open line tomorrow. So whatever is happening while the polls are open, you all can jump on in the stream and tell everyone what is happening in your patch of the wood. Thank you all very much, and we will be back with you tomorrow when it will be Election Day coverage. Good night from Global Television.